Hi, I'm Pastor Judy, and I'm here today to just present a wonderful meal for you. We are here to feed not only the body, but the soul. And the scripture we have today is, "Taste and see that the Lord is good." How many of you have thought about that? You know, we taste all kinds of things in our life, things we don't like, things that are sour, things that are sweet, but the Lord is always exactly right. And so when we taste and see that the Lord is good, that's in Psalm 34:8. So I challenge you to go today and just sit down and meditate on how wonderful that the Lord is. And we're going to have today, I'm going to do a quesadilla for you, and a cheese quesadilla. I'm going to do tacos for you, and I'm just hoping it's something, not that you don't know how to make it, I'm sure you do, but a little twist on the tacos, maybe a way to put your lettuce and everything on. But let's just start. I've already started to do my meat, and now you should try to get the best meat that you can to have a little less grease or fat on it. But you know what? If you don't, it doesn't matter. Just drain everything off and go from there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get our meat all cooked up. I've got some, and we have a fly that's come to stay and visit with us today. So if any of you see that fly, let me know so I can get it off the table. I appreciate that. So remember, taste and see that the Lord is good. And I can tell you, in my life, I have seen Him just be so good to me. And you know what? It's when I don't deserve it. So often we think, oh, well, sure, the Lord should be good to me. You know, I've done well today. I haven't cut anybody off on the freeway. I haven't done anything really that bad. So I'm sure the Lord is quite pleased with me. But I'll tell you, we need to taste and see how good He is when maybe we aren't doing the best thing that we should be doing. So I'm going to go ahead, because I want my seasoning to get in here. I have just regular taco seasoning. Don't have to have a name brand. You get whatever's comfortable. And this is about 3 tablespoons. I don't put the whole container. This is a pound of meat. Because I add salsa to my meat. I don't add the water, which it calls for, is to add water with your seasoning. But I don't do that. I just go ahead and stir all my seasoning in as best that I can. And then I add extra salsa to it. Because I'll tell you, the meat needs to simmer and it needs to get the flavor. There's nothing worse than having a taco and the meat is so bland and you're wondering if you're just eating a lettuce and tomato with a taco shell, because the meat really isn't anything to brag about. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in some taco sauce or salsa. I'm going to say this is about 3 tablespoons. We may have to add a little bit more, but let's try it first with just the 3. It depends on how our meat cooks up. And this was a lean, it was only 7% fat. And the only reason I did that is because I didn't want to fiddle with taking the grease out of it. That's the only reason I used 7%. Then I'm going to add some garlic salt. Maybe a little extra fat in here might have been fine. Here I thought I was helping myself, but you don't want it real soupy by any means. I'm going to have a little more salsa. That's about another 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to say probably about a half a cup to a pound for the salsa. And then I'm going to go ahead and let this simmer, because the longer it can simmer, the better it's going to be. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get my quesadilla, the tortillas on the grill. So let's just go ahead. I'm going to pull this kind of right into the center, because in that way it's not going to dry out. See, if it's all thin on the bottom of the skillet, then it's going to cook too fast and it's going to dry out. Okay. Put the lid on it. Now I'm going to watch this because I want it to cook, but I don't want it to dry out. So let's just go ahead and get our tortillas. These are the flour tortillas. And what I do with my tortillas, because I want my quesadilla, I want it to be crispy. You know, sometimes you get a quesadilla and it comes to the table and it's just like a warmed tortilla. I want my tortillas crispy. So what I do is I butter my tortillas. And I hope this gets nice and crispy because that's what I want. Okay. Oh, I hear sizzle. I was wondering if we were going to have sizzle. And if you don't want to use butter, then you could use Promise. Yeah. Because we want these good and crispy. In fact, I'm going to hold them down. So remember our scripture for today. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Don't we have a beautiful setting here today? Oh, when I thought about doing the scripture for today, this scenery is what came to my mind. Is, Lord, when I look out here and see how wonderful you have provided for us to be able to share this with the ones who tune in and watch the program, we want to try to do the best for you that we possibly can. I'm going to let those warm a little and check my meat. Looking good. I'm going to put just a little bit of salt. Not much, just a little, just a pinch. I like this pretty fine. Again, we're going to pull this back up, make a little mound. And I am going to put just a little bit more salsa. Just going to put it over the top, another couple of tablespoons, and now I'm just going to let it set up there. I'm not going to stir it in. You know, cooking is really watching, tasting, paying attention to the texture. You know, so many people, they do recipes and they go right by the recipe, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'll tell you, when you get the feel for having the food have that feeling that you want. I've lost my cheese. Who ate my cheese? Alrighty. All right. Well, I found it. Let's take this and put this right in here. And you want enough to make sure that you're going to get the flavor when you turn it over. Guess what? That's hot. Oh, see? Now we're going to let that cook. It's not done yet. I'm going to take a little bit of that butter off the grill, because I don't want it swimming in butter. We could have done with just a little less, but it'll be okay now that we've taken this excess off. And when we cut this and that cheese all comes, you're going to find out that buttering it makes all the difference in the world. Okay. Let's try this. I'm going to turn this down now and just let it simmer because I don't want it to dry. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and I'm going to make up my seasoning, my lettuce and tomato and onion. And what we do, and one of the ladies at our church had us over one evening because we'd had tacos, you know, all our life. And we sat down to the table and she had all of the fixings that goes on the taco all mixed up in a bowl. So when you put it on your taco, it was all right there. And all the flavor from the tomato and the onion and everything was already on that lettuce instead of having a layer of this and a layer of that. And so that's the way I'm going to do it for you today. Now, I didn't put avocado in it, but she had avocado in hers, and it was very good. I had never had avocado. And but just take this and put it right here. Cut up your lettuce. And this just all mixes together so nicely. And like I said, the flavor is completely through the lettuce. Okay. I remember we're from back east, and I had never had a taco. Didn't have enchiladas, didn't have burritos. We came from the Midwest, and that wasn't something that we ever had. And so when we came to California and found out about tacos and burritos and enchiladas, that was our life, let me tell you. And you can make a meal with very little ingredients. We came from back east, and I can remember we left on April Fool's Day. And my husband laughed because our family all had a party for us, and we had the cake that was left over. We had it in the car with us, and we had a U-Haul on the back of the car, and we had our little puppy. At that time, his name was Tuffy, and he was our baby. And so we had him tranquilized, propped up in the back window because he was not a traveler. And we came to California, and I'll tell you, we were scared to death. Talk about taking a venture. When you do all those things with your mate, and you make memories and things over the years, and you go back and you reminisce about that, this is going to be probably a couple of tablespoons of onion. Let's look at it and then we'll check it out. Runaway onion, we'll try 3. Okay, you check my meat. We don't want to get this all dried out. Oh, and we got to get our Oh, I'm so glad I forgot them. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? That's exactly the way you want them. Nice and brown and crispy. They are wonderful. When you bite into them, they're just going to crunch. They're not just going to be some, flabby tortilla. Let me turn this off because I don't think I need it anymore. Just going to leave these over here to the side, and then we're going to cut them in just a second. Alrighty, so we stir this all up. Going to add a little bit of celery or garlic salt. If you watch me cook very long, you're going to know celery salt is the only way to go. And now see, what you're doing here is you're seasoning all of this together. Little salt. So when you put this on your taco, then put a little cheese on the top of that. I'm not going to put the cheese in this because I want the cheese to be separate. But all of this just sets and kind of marinates together and just makes a wonderful flavor. I hope you do this because I think you're going to like it. Okay, we'll set this right here for now. This is what's great about being outside. I couldn't do this in the house. Puppy would be all up here eating everything I threw down. So let's go ahead and check our... Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and take this and we're going to get this cut. I'll bring it over here, it'll be easier. Is this beautiful? Oh, I'm telling you, that butter is what makes that. You can't keep a tortilla on the grill long enough to get it this brown without drying it out. But when you do it with the butter on it, all righty. Hear that crunch? Oh. Left my plate. Yeah, gotta find a spot to put it. I need a bigger table. Can you see that cheese oozing out of there? That's because of all the time that it was left on the grill to get that nice and brown like that. Absolutely beautiful. Scoop this back. All righty. Now we're going to go ahead and make up our tacos. That's just going to warm it a little. I need to get my corn tortillas. Now, you can also make a taco out of flour tortillas. I love a flour tortilla with a taco. Let's hope this is, aha. Oh, I'm moving fast. Wonderful. Find my, I knew it was there. Now what I do is I turn these quickly, just within a few seconds after I put them down. And I love having my tacos fresh like this. There's nothing like a good fresh taco. Out here in the wind like this, they're going to get cold really quick. But what a wonderful flavor that the tacos are. I'm going to lay them here on the grill. I'll put this over here. Now remember, just as soon as you put them in, fold them over. That way they're pliable and they're going to roll. And then you can cook them as crunchy as you want. But just as soon as you get them in and soften them a little bit, then you can turn them nice and crispy. Let me get another one. And these are the extra large, so that way you got a nice sized taco shell. I'm going to go ahead and pop this one in. We're going to be doing a dessert here in just a few minutes that I think will be so neat. Your kids are going to love it. It's a quick little dessert, but I think it's going to make your kids just think that you were the best thing ever going. Crisp that up a little bit. Our meat is already cooked. Our lettuce is already set. Drain this. Get it good and crispy. Remember our scripture, taste and see that the Lord is good. So good. You know, I love Him more today than I did yesterday. And I pray that that will be something all my life until I go to heaven, because I do plan to go to heaven. We'll do one more. Remember, as soon as you get that in there, give it about 10 seconds. You can hear it crisping up a little. Turn it over. And you know, there's a right and a wrong way. There's a left turn and a right turn. If you don't turn it the right way that the tortilla wants to go, it'll kink up on you. But if you turn it the right way, and you can only do that by practicing. When you go to turn it, does it turn easy to make that fold? If it doesn't, then turn it from the other side, because it'll lay right over for you. We want to get these good and crunchy. We don't want them to be soggy. You know, I used to have a taco stand. I went everywhere to find a taco stand. You know, where you can stand the tacos up and then fill them. Everybody looked at me like I'd fallen off the planet. And I got this little tray here. Well, I want to tell you, it's worthless. It is worthless. All righty. We're going to get these cooled. Let me turn this down. We're going to get these made up. Now, my husband happens to be the kind that doesn't want his lettuce on the top. He wants it on the bottom. He says that way, then it doesn't sog, his meat doesn't sog up his taco shell. Well, whatever. I'm going to put the meat on the bottom. He can just live with it. So we're going to go ahead and take these. And whoa! I'm sure glad that lid was on there. Let's see if I got that off. Yeah, I think it was the moisture. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill our meat. See how this is just all together. And then we're going to take a little cheese. Okay, we'll take our other one. The flavor of a cooked taco shell is wonderful. Am I making your mouth water? I hope so. And if you haven't cooked your own taco shells lately, I just challenge you to do it. It takes 3 seconds to do it. If I had a taco holder, if any of you know where a taco holder is, please let me know. Okay? All righty. Well, as I finish these up, get these ready for you, we're going to bring on the dessert. And so let's just go ahead and get this last one done. And we're going to do our dessert for you. And there we are. I hope this makes your mouth water. And now I have the most wonderful dessert for you. These are called little ice cream cakes. Now, what this is a Quaker puffed caramel corn. You know, the ones that have no calories and are wonderful for you? Well, I just happen to put ice cream in them, but that's all right. These are wonderful. And what you do is, and I get the caramel ones. There's different flavors. You can get ones that have no flavor. It's okay. But I happen to like the caramel. And what I do is I take the little caramel, sides, and I put them together. Here's a side. And now I use pecan praline. And again, you can use whatever you want. But you just take this and you just pile it up in there. Snug as a bug in a rug. See, taste and see that the Lord is good. Every time you see a little ice cream, you're going to think of that. And then you put his little lid on. What do you think about that? Tell me that a little kid wouldn't, well, a big kid, okay? But we're going to go ahead and make these and then stick them in the freezer. And any time that the kids want a snack, all they have to do is go to the freezer and just pick one of these out, or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, and they're all ready to go. So as we give this a little lid, clean him off a little, not much. Oh, he fell over. Okay, so we're going to close today with this wonderful little treat for you and your kids. So please go to our website. We've made it for you. We're excited about it. It's abundantlifeministriesofthevalley.com. You can see these recipes. You can hear the messages that we have for you. And I am so tickled that I got to spend this time with you. So until next time, I'll see you there.
Thank you for joining Pastor Judy Stent. If you'd like to drop her a line, send it to Food for Body and Soul, P.O. Box 5310, Hemet, California 92544. Don't forget to visit our website, almv.us or abundantlifeministriesofthevalley.com.
Hi, I'm Pastor Bob Stead, and this is my wife, Pastor Judy. We are inviting you to join us each and every day at 3:30 p.m. on Channel 3, right here on Time Warner Cable, and also Files, Channel 38 for the Word of God.